Hi, welcome in. I am packing for a trip to Vegas. So in this video, I'm going to share useful travel philosophies and hacks that I learned as a digital nomad, as well as specifics for dealing with humidity and whatnot, or lack of humidity as the case may be in Vegas. I'm also going to share essential techniques for existing in places like bars and casinos, including, but not limited to, cot blocking. Okay, let's get right into it. One of the biggest dramas that I've ever had, and maybe you've experienced this too, is when you take like aerosols or perfumes and you throw them in your bag. Obviously you can't, there's a limit to what you can bring in the cabin, but when you put them on an aeroplane and they put them in the hold, they depressurize everything. There was many a time when I would open my gear and it would like smell delightful, but it was like, oh shit, that's my expensive perfume that's gone all over my gear. And so I end up like smelling like a harlot every time I like even put my sports gear on. I'm going to talk through a few hacks. First one is toothpaste. So the number of times that I've shown up and like my toothpaste is squirted out into the same, like I would pack stuff like in little baggies, like plastic bags like this. And like the number of times, especially with, it depends on the type of toothpaste that you use, but with a lot of them in this kind of packaging, there's a tendency for the packaging to split. So I just learned to either carry the toothpaste, like only take toothpaste where you've taken a lot out of it already. So I'll, like in the course of being nomadic and having travels, I would do things like time toothpaste so that I could take half tubes on the plane with me. And so like I'd stop using it and then buy another one and use that and la 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 la. Anyway, another good hack is stuff like tooth powder, you know, like so I don't know what this is got in it, but you can look on Amazon and there are all kinds of like beauty products that are tooth powder. And the great thing about this is that it's literally just a powder. It's got like cinnamon and stuff that's good for your teeth in it, and you can brush your teeth just as you normally would. I mean, it's a different experience, but and it's arguably healthier as well. The other thing that causes a problem on aeroplanes is aerosols. So I try not to use anything that has aerosols, or try not to take anything that has aerosols. So, you know, like I've got the sunscreen. So if you're going outside in Vegas, or if you're taking a swimsuit, you're going to want to take sunscreen because there's a likelihood, there are lots of places like rooftop swimming pools and spas and like places to lie about. If you end up doing that, I know like a lot of Vegas is casinos, but if you like to do that and you're likely to, and if you're taking, my rule is if you're taking a swimsuit, take sunscreen. If you're going anywhere that's going to be outside of the casino, so even like walking up and down the street, or the strip, should I say, because it's Vegas, you still want to wear sunscreen. Like there's almost nowhere in the world now where I don't think sunscreen is necessary. Like maybe England, if you're going out shopping, like on the high street, you probably don't want to wear sunscreen. But even my tinted moisturizer has some kind of SPF. If I'm going out running or walking for any period of time, well, at all, I'll have 100%, what's it called? 100, SPF 100. Simply because I've noticed dramatic skin damage and tanning and stuff, and it just can't be good for you. All right, so I will probably take this one, which is only SPF 50, but given what we've got planned, this would probably have to do. I'll probably end up buying stuff if I do need it, you know, like for swimming and whatnot. Okay. So again, what I would do with this, because otherwise, that you can already see it's already kind of coming out. I would try and squeeze as much air out as possible, because it's the air is the thing that's going to cause it to pop or leak or whatever. Okay, so onto leakage. Perfumes. The number of times when I've thought, oh, I'll take my lovely perfume with me. I learned this kind of quickly. where you have a whole bottle, or you get like the airport duty free ones. You stick it in you use it while you're at your one location, and then you stick it in your bag, and you're like, okay, this is gonna be great to take home. And it's not that. You open your case at the other end, and it smells delightful, but then all your clothes, including like your trainers and stuff, are completely soaked in your perfume. Um, so you end up putting your sports gear on and smelling like a hussy when you go down to the gym. It's not a good look. There's a solution though. I've tried the things, where you have to like decant it into like a squirty thing with varying success. It's a faff. It's a faff. It's doable. I haven't got one to hand at the moment, so presumably I didn't buy one since I've been here in Austin. So a really good hack that I like, that's like a kind of in betweeny thing, is to buy samples. You can normally buy, for most of the top brand perfumes, they have sample packs where you can buy varieties. And if not, like, you have stores over here that like mall stores, and if you go online, they normally have packs of like even different brands that you can put together. And so it's a good way to find new perfumes as you want new stuff to play with, but also it doubles up for any kind of trip. So not to advertise the perfume, but I've wrapped the top here, and this is actually so this is actually a result of having a mother who used to be a biologist. So you get accustomed to things like, well, my father's a medical doctor. So you grow up with things like medical tape and micropore and all that kind of thing. So we didn't have sellotape as kids. We had micropore, and there were like different types of micropore that he would have from the surgery. Anyway, all that to say is that this is like lab, what do they call it? It's stuff that you use. Like, I'm going to show you how to use it actually. So I'm going to break it off. So you see, it's kind of plastic, but it's great because it stretches. It's kind of like cellophane. It's like cellophane, except they use it for like sealing up petri dishes. So you take the whatnot, like the nozzle, and you want to kind of anchor it over there, and then as you stretch it, it kind of, I think it releases heat actually, because you're like changing the bonding, and it sticks to itself, and you can kind of get a pretty good solid seal on it. So like if I were packing this, I'd probably pull another one over it, and like it's the stretching that's the key. Anyway, and then I take a few strips of this, because obviously when you get to the other end, you're going to want to use this, and you take it off, and it's totally fine. It hasn't leaked all over your stuff, so you can use it as a normal person would use perfume, and not like you've just taken a shower in it. Take a few strips of this to put it in your case. So it's you don't want it to stick to itself. Like, it doesn't stick, but when it gets compressed onto it, it's difficult to get apart, and it makes it unusable at the other end. But you're going to want to use some strips to repackage the stuff when you go back. The alternative is to take the whole thing, but this is kind of nomadic packing. So like, we just take anything that you don't actually need. So, excess weight or stuff like volume, it's just not worth having to deal with it. So here's another thing. A client of mine once gave me this hack, and I never forgot it. Airborne. They're not sponsoring me or anything like that, but it is super helpful for it. It's not just vitamin C. It's got like a concoction of other stuff in it. Vitamins, minerals, and herbs. I find this really useful. I take one before I get on a flight, and one when I hit the other side, and it stops. I feel like, having done all of this travel, it stops me getting sick when I think like I was on the brink of getting sick. So yeah, Airborne. I would totally travel with this like all the time. Okay, so this one's a little bit vampire in a pencil factory kind of one, but Dramamine. So, weirdly, the first time I heard about Dramamine was on The X-Files. There's so much culture, American culture and stuff and name brands that I only found out about through watching TV. Anyway, I get travel sick pretty badly. Like, I don't like, it's motion sickness. Anyway, not to worry. I found that Dramamine really helps, and the reason I say Vampire in a Pencil Factory is because it's kind of like you have a digital nomad who basically does nothing but travel, and she gets travel sick. So when you know that you're going to be traveling, rather than like getting overwhelmed with all the things that you have to remember in a very short space of time from when you say, oh, I'm going to start packing to when you're actually doing the packing, it's really useful to have a designated area, which is your packing area, or at least your collection area. So find somewhere. So I have a shelf in the other room where like I think, oh, I need such and such, and then I gather it up and I put it in there. And so then I don't even have to try and remember stuff. It just takes, it reduces your odds of forgetting something. All right, so this is one of those devices where you can weigh the things. It's better than like having scales. A lot of people use bathroom scales, but I find that those are often difficult to calibrate and unreliable and la 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 la. And then what do you do at the other end? So you're in your hotel room and you're packing and you've got all the gear that you might have purchased and you want to bring back. Maybe you've dropped some gear, or I don't know, maybe you've some of your clothes are wet or your swimsuit's wet. So it's all adding on weight and you don't know which way's up. Having one of these on hand is worth it to be able to weigh your case. So, you know, there's a little dance that you do. You keep it up like this. I'm not going to do it on camera. You don't need to see that. Okay, now you see in the background here, I've kind of been dancing around this thing. I always find it's useful to have something where you can keep all of your gear. In the CCF, Combined Cadet Force, as a kid, they would teach us things like marching and guns and like how to take them apart and clean them and put them back together again. And the idea is that you learn how to take care of your kit and keep it clean and functional so that you can grab it at any moment and go. So this is like an extension. Yeah, I apply it to my makeup situation. So this is an extension of that, in that you know you can, like in the dark, you want to be able to put your hands on exactly what you need at any point in time. All right. Basically, what will happen is when I come to do the actual pack, like I'm a few days out at the moment, so I'm kind of like mostly prepared. But this stuff, like I'll take a small percentage of this stuff and pack it into there, and I'll learn my new system for being able to put my hands on it. This is all about putting a little bit of thought in ahead of time so that you don't have to deal with dramas when there's nothing that you can do about it. So for instance, I don't know if you girls like do use these things like for, you know, when you're straightening your hair and whatnot. I need one. But the number of hair clips that I have broken, like I took to putting them in my trainers and my shoes, but it's just an extra drama because they do end up breaking when you pack them in your luggage. It's just not ideal. And there's always a risk. So what I was saying was that this is about like removing your headspace from having to even think about it. So this will do the same job in terms of like gripping your hair, and you don't have to think about it breaking. Okay, so I will be swapping that out, leaving that at home, and putting this in my gear. All right. You want to be able to be completely present to whatever is going on, either around you or for the purpose of the trip. And you don't want to have to worry about, oh, I need to go and replace my hair clip, or I need to go and find painkillers, or I've run out of conditioner because it went all over my bag, and then I've got to try and clean the top. Oh, and that was the top that I was going to wear for that dinner, and blah, 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 blah. Like stuff with travel can spiral into a drama quickly. And so the more of these like dramas that you can reduce or remove, then the easier the trip will go in general. And so you can be really present for whatever you're there to do. Toothbrush. So this is less of an issue if you're just doing short haul from, well, Austin to Vegas, which is what I'm doing. But I like the practice of taking my toothbrush in one of these bags in my laptop case. So my laptop stays with me. The reason for that is that if you ever get separated from your luggage, at least you can brush your bloody teeth, right? And for that reason, I'll also use tooth powder. I've never had tooth powder taken off me at, the control thingamajig. You're allowed up to a certain volume as well. The other thing that I'll sometimes do is use those tiny travel toothpaste things. The other thing about Vegas is, this is not the toothbrush segment anymore. I can put that down. It's in the middle of the desert. I use baby oil. So actually, I got this last time I was in Vegas because my skin was just so dry. I mean, like sometimes I find it hard to breathe. The air is so dry. And I have a dehumidifier in the other bathroom because I like the air to be like kind of clean and dry and not too moist. Take moisturizers for whatever it is that you want, whatever it is that you need. Like obviously you're not going to use these on your face, but you'll be surprised at how quickly you dry out in the desert. Okay, so now we're on to the really important segment here, and that is coffee game. One of the things that I was really surprised about when I hit Vegas, in fact, I don't think I noticed it at other places in the US prior, I'm not sure, was the complete lack of tea and coffee making facilities. Might just have been the hotel that I ended up in, but I was told that this is pretty normal to not have at least a kettle to make a cup of tea. And it was a drama, like getting hold of a kettle was not going to happen. And you kind of want to be like, I don't know about you, but like I like to have stuff so that I can have it like last thing at night, like a nice decaf cup of tea. I don't want to have to schlep down to the foyer at whatever time in the morning or night in order just to get a coffee. So anyway, I have a little stash bag of stuff, and it's got my various, elixirs and teas and nighty night for like when I need help getting to sleep, chamomile, the nice ones with honey and vanilla, which you don't get around often, decaf tea because that's not always an option. I like the fasting green teas, the matcha ones, and like this, I've got some sachets from like green drinks. So like for your minerals and whatnot, which you get depleted. That reminds me, electrolytes is a really good idea. So I'll probably take some electrolytes with me as well. Although they tend to be full of sugar, the ones that you can buy in the casinos. Like they're kind of shitty, if you ask me. So anyway, if you care about any of that kind of stuff, you need to deal with it up front and take it with you. The other thing that I do when I travel, even if I'm going to stay with someone who isn't an avid coffee drinker like me, is I'll at least take a pack of ground, like pre-ground, not beans, decaf, because finding good decaf anywhere is hard, and a lot of them have so many toxins. Like I use the what is it, Swiss cold filtered, I can't remember what you call it, but anyway, if you know coffee, you know what I'm talking about. And this doesn't have the toxins, and so I don't get headaches from it, and so on and so forth. So my friend who I'm meeting there is going to take her mini travel coffee thing because she's equally into coffee, and we've got a starter pack for the decaf, so we're covered. The other thing that I was going to show you guys that I thought was pretty nifty is a solution to the kettle problem. I haven't managed to get it to do what I want it to do. There are like so many different settings, and they go, oh, there's the colored label. So the button at the front goes a different color depending on what setting it's on. And I was like, yeah, but how do you know what those mean? So I'd put ready the guide, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to take the guide with me, and so I put it in a plastic thing so I could throw it in my case and it not get destroyed. Anyway, it's good that there's a sticker label on there. I was thinking of doing something similar. Um, so yes, prep ahead of time so you know what you're dealing with. So this is going to be the savior. I mean, okay, it means putting that in your case, and it's not super heavy, it's not super light, but actually, it's probably about the same weight as my travel mug. So I was going to also suggest, if you're a tea drinker and you want to kind of do it like Nomad style and make sure that you have all your gear that you want, this is a really good option. And then take a travel mug as well, because the cups that they give you, if they ever give you cups, are so tiny that you can't brew a proper cup of tea or coffee or whatever. So these are these travel mugs. So I don't ever rely on them to be able to like tip them upside down and stuff, but they're just really handy, especially if you're going places like conferences and you want to be able to carry your coffee around. But even still, even if you're going to do the restaurant and whatnot thing, just having something in your room that's big enough to hold like a decent cup. This is really super useful on the plane as well. Like when I do long hauls, like they give you get this tiny little cups. It's like, oh, I need a real drink of coffee or a real drink of tea. Can you help me out? And the air hostesses are normally brilliant, and they'll fill it right up with the hot water or whatever we need. So that holds probably about 2 cups, which if you're a proper coffee drinker, it's a cup of coffee. Actually, you know what? I'm ready for a cup of tea, so it might be worth giving this a try, like a trial run, to see if I can actually get it to work. So let me see if I can move this. Woo-hoo. There we go. So you should be able to see my setup now. So this was going to be a pack with me, but this is actually turning into a make tea with me thing. So I'm going to grab the filter water. Can I get enough filter water in here? I've already washed this out and boiled it a couple of times and stuff, so we're not completely starting from scratch here. All right, so maybe the order is to put this in here. So the idea with these things is you don't actually put anything other than water in them, because that's how they get like kind of manked up. You just want to keep it to water. And I think the descaling process is that you use something like apple cider vinegar and bicarb soda or whatever, which is, a good option anyway. So what kind of tea are we going to have? We could have Twinings, but to be honest, like if you're an English person and you don't drink PG tips, I think there's something wrong with you. I'm joking. I'm not joking. Look, I've got Yorkshire tea. Like, let me just say that I'm holding up the side. I've got Yorkshire tea, but this is the stuff, really. PG tips. All right, so we're going to have a decaf PG tips. So this is going to go in this one. Boo, boo, boo. All right, having that flashing light going is going to give me, it's going to start boiling it. So this is going to turn from blue to orange to red, okay? Okay, here we go. You can see it's turned orange. And so orange means that it's at 70 degrees. So we're getting there, almost there. And actually this is quite good because it hasn't, oh, here we go, it's turned red. So this is quite good. It hasn't been going long. I've just gone and logged into Facebook to respond to a message. So I don't know, maybe 30 seconds or so, 40. This is quite fast. I'm quite impressed. Okay, so you can hear it slowed down, and that's it. And so I think that's it done. So you got to be careful because you get steam coming out. Although that should have... Okay, so it is boiling. I think we could probably go a little bit hotter. You can tell I'm proper British tea maker. If it goes a little bit hotter, it will make sure that it hits the right chemical reaction in the tea. This is why in low pressure or up mountains, your tea doesn't taste the same if you boil it on the mountain. So I used to have friends who would actually make their tea make their tea in a flask before they went walking, which is fair enough, whatever. Okay, so that's as hot as it's going to get, I think, because you can hear it already switching off on the thermostat. So tea bag in there. I'm going to unplug it so that I can tilt it properly, unencumbered. The other thing I like about the PG tips is that it's a pretty robust tea bag, as tea bags go. It doesn't take long to, properly brew and give you a nice thick flavour. So there we go. And we're good to go. Cheers. Hey, hey. Okay. Sounds like the pool parties have started out there. It is Austin. All right. So the last thing that I wanted to discuss with you is the art of cock blocking. So obviously it's Vegas, so people are going to Vegas for a particular set of circumstances, which means that you need a particular set of skills in order to navigate that. My personal preference includes various devices and props that I take with me so that I can filter what comes at me. All right. So obviously there are very basic types. These were the earplugs that I mentioned earlier. Is that how they do it in the beauty things? So these are loop earplugs, and they have honestly saved my life because they block out enough noise and stop you from getting overstimulated. So they're great for working or sleeping or existing in like a high and noisy any environment where you've got like other people. So what I was saying is I'll put those and those on the plane. Obviously, no, you can still hear that people are talking to you when you're wearing these. So it's also really good for being out on the road, like when you're training. So they're actually quite safe, and if there's a noise or an alarm in the night, you'll still wake up. So that's why I like these. Another reason why I like these. So I will sometimes wear those, and sometimes the pink ones aren't so obvious. So I've got like some turquoise ones, which are and some gold ones as well, which are like they're selective. They're selectively blocking noise. They're ideal for concerts, so you can hear people talking next to you, and the music is deadened a little bit. So I'll use those for music situations. So if you don't want to be disturbed, there's obviously the universal symbol of putting your headphones on. But there are other more inventive means as well. One of the things that I think I'm going to like about being in Vegas with friends who are out gambling, like I don't want to be gambling because I find it kind of cognitively exhausting, and I'd rather use that energy that I do have available for either socializing or just enjoying the environment and so on and so forth. So that means that I'm probably going to have time sitting at the bars and in restaurants where the others are off doing whatever they're going to do, and I'm going to be just existing, which is perfect for me. It's exactly what I've been wanting to do since we've come out of lockdown. So this means being able to field things, people, creatures that come at you. So the first thing in my arsenal is my Kindle. And normally it doesn't matter what you're reading on your Kindle, or if you're even reading at all. But sometimes people will ask. So if you really want to get rid of them quickly, make sure that it's in a foreign language, because that's the most intimidating, and they tend to go, oh, right, okay, you're one of those, I'm going to leave you alone. And this can go, depending on the size, which Kindle you've got, but I've figured out that this can go nicely in my purse. Whoops, hang on. Like so, okay? So that's that. Other things that are super intimidating is having things like maths notes. Most people don't like maths, strangely enough. Okay, so there's one more thing that's kind of useful, because unless you're actually sitting somewhere where you can get all your paraphernalia out, it's kind of difficult to signal this otherwise, unless you want to walk around with a mask on, which I'm perfectly perfectly happy to do at some points when it suits me. But another useful tool are the blue blockers. Blue blockers signal that either you're a complete weirdo and you're trying to look like Bon Jovi or something like that, or that you're health conscious and so you're not likely to be pushed into all kinds of shenanigans and manipulated. So, blue blockers are great because, especially in the evenings, because casinos are, as you probably are aware, they're wired to keep you wired. So that no matter what time of the day it is, your brain thinks that, and your circadian rhythms think that it's daytime. So they have enough light and blue light and screens and stuff to fake you into thinking that it's still like noon and it's actually midnight. As someone who struggles with adrenal fatigue and sleep still, and like on and off periodically, I protect my sleep. Like it's the most important thing, and wearing blue blockers, even if we're going out for dinner in the evenings, it's super helpful to just like it. They also reduce eye strain. Like I won't even watch TV without my blue blockers on. I have another pair that's less yellow, but I feel like the yellow kind of makes the point, because otherwise it can look like, oh, you're just wearing glasses. But the yellow kind of like push it a little bit further. So this is useful. So come 5-6 o'clock, I will be donning my blue blockers for the rest of the evening. And like it doesn't mean that you can't stay out until like 1 or 5 in the morning, depending on whether you're having fun or not. But it gives you options and it gives you a way of protecting your circadian. Okay, if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you can see next time when I upload. And I'll catch you on the flip side. Until next time.